cuckoo, a little cuckoo. We prance around the moon at noon, around and around until we're smooth.
We are going cuckoo indeed, because this is the very first episode of In Front of the Scenes. My name is Kevin Botero from Points Cobra, and it's In Front of the Scenes because I'm coming out from behind the scenes, you see, to chat with clients about who they are and what they have going on. And it's very cool that the very first guest on this little feature is Ryder Cooley from Dust Bowl Faeries. They're a dark carnival cabaret band from Hudson, New York. So, Ryder, very cool of you to do this for the very first time. And I guess just to start us off, you are the front woman, the Faerie Leader, the Faerie Queen of Dust Bowl Faeries. But just tell us about the other members of the band too, because you guys are a five-piece.
Okay, so yeah, we have Jon B, Woodin, Rocket Faerie, plays the guitar. Rubi LaRue, we call her the Feisty Faerie. She's very feisty. She plays lap steel guitar and with an ebow. And the LoGiudice, the River Faerie, plays the bass, and Andrew Stein, the maniacal timekeeper Faerie, plays the drums.
Perfect. Okay, so and I know the name Dust Bowl Faeries, of course. So you are very much like a fairy person, the changeling vibe and all that. And I guess Dust Bowl was literally the I know it's from Oklahoma, but it was like what, a century ago there was that time period, and that's where it came from. So the personas of the fairies, you guys all have your various fairy names, and we'll shout out to sometimes member Jude Roberts, Hobbit Fairy, who sometimes joins you guys. Do they mean anything to each of you individually besides just kind of sounding cool, or no?
Oh, cool fairies.
Yeah. Like Andrew, I can guess Time Fairy. He's the drummer. That's probably something along those lines. But like, is there a deeper meaning behind why everyone is the fairy that they are?
Yeah, like literally, we came up with these names in the car on the way to like a little mini weekend tour, and we were having some direction drama.
Okay.
And, everybody's got opinions on what way to go and etc.
Are you talking about direction drama, literally like how to get to where you were going, or musical direction drama in the car?
How to get to where we are going.
Okay. So
because some lazy people like me would rather just follow the GPS, and then other people have very specific ideas like no, it has to be this way. So anyway, we were having that car drama, and it was getting tense, because I think we had just enough time to get there, and it was like I was like, I don't want to screw around. And so what saved the day was we came up with the names, starting with Rubi LaRue, also known as Karen, also known as Feisty Faerie, because she's feisty and she has a lot of opinions.
So is Ruby driving the bus in this in the car argument about directions then, and she became feisty?
I'm the Faerie Leader, so I think I was driving, and she was probably backseat driving. So
Right.
and she did grow up in the New York Hudson Valley, so she has she knows all these roads in and out and back and forth. But you don't always the roads, but you don't necessarily know like the traffic, and that's where the apps can come in and be helpful. So anyway, I was like, oh my God, anyway, I started calling her the Feisty Faerie, and we all just started laughing, And so then it was like, okay, now we're having a good time again. And then, we spent the rest of the trip coming up with the names for everybody else. So Faerie Leader is a no-brainer for me. But and sometimes it's Faerie Queen, depending on whatever mood people are in. But we have the River Faerie, Liz, named after kind of like the Hudson River, because she's an ecologist and she's done a lot of work with the river and sort of river ecosystem, especially in this area. So she really kind of identifies as like river creature. And yes, Andrew is another kind of no-brainer because he plays drums and keeps the time for the band, so that's how he became the maniacal time fairy. Jon, the guitarist, I came up with a few for him to pick from. One of them being Rocket Fairy, which was just really because he loves to rock out, and he wanted that, so that's how he got his title. And did I miss someone? But Lisa, who's with us a lot and makes all of our videos, or most of our videos, and films, actually, audio film, is the film fairy.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
from Thinage Films, their frequent collaborator. So yeah, okay, that's cool. That's cool. Now, in term, oh, go ahead. Yeah, and
the
Jude, yes.
fairy, I wanted to call him the elf fairy because I kind of felt like he was a little elven, and he corrected me and said, absolutely, he's a hobbit. He's not an elf. So
Gotcha.
yeah.
Okay, cool, excellent stuff. Now, in terms of the sound of Dust Bowl Fairies, a really good quote that you guys often use, and I really like from previous reviews, is Americana by way of pagan cabaret, which was bestowed on you by the Bay Area Reporter. Shout out San Francisco. I know you used to live there. So, how would you, besides that, I suppose, describe the sound of Dust Bowl Fairies?
Well, it's the lead instrument is the accordion, so all the music is pretty much accordion driven, except that sometimes we do play a song, a song or two that other members have written. So then the accordion's, second fiddle. But most of our songs are written on the accordion, and so the way that I play the accordion is my accordion mentor was a klezmer accordionist, so that's just how I learned those beautiful sort of melancholy, angsty scales of like the Eastern European music. And I love a lot of also the sort of rhythms of like Balkan music, like European folk music. So that's kind of underlying it all, I would say. But and I don't very often call the music Americana, but by way of taking cabaret, saved the day with the Americana, categorization. I know we're in the U.S., but I don't really, because I think of like the influence of more like the Eastern European style. I don't really think of the music as like, from this.
I get that, because to me, Americana too, it's like there's the folk influence, but I also kind of think of like a classic country vibe when I think of Americana. So, and I don't hear that at all in the fairies, but it is like music. That's the beautiful thing, is it is very subjective. And you're right, the pagan cabaret part is fantastic. That's like, who else could be described that way? So I dig that. So in terms of discography, it's kind of an interesting one, because I would, and you can correct me on this if I'm wrong, kind of consider the fairies to have like what, two kind of proper full lengths, two EPs, and a couple of singles. Because if you look at like Hazel's Eyes, which is one full length, that's a collab between you and Dennis Herbert, who's a frequent collaborator of yours. And if you go back, and this is a question I have. So the very first kind of fairies release, or perhaps fairies adjacent, is Exmalia, and I hope I pronounced that right, the Songs of Extinction concept album. So I know that started kind of as a touring, like a bit of a show before. So is that something that the fairies adopted into their live shows, or was that created, in fact, like with the fairies in mind, and was the kind of the first release, even if not officially?
Yeah, so Ex Malia was the sort of like foreshadowing to the band, I would say. And it was its own thing. I had a separate Ex Malia band. So none of the members of Dust Bowl Faeries now were in the original Exmalia group, but and it was much more of a sort of multimedia show, which was song based, but it had aerial performance and some kind of dance movement, and it was a song cycle, but with a lot of other elements. And we do still play a couple of the Exmalia songs. Because I've been writing songs for so long, songs kind of go in and out of circulation.
Yeah.
So the Xerxes butterfly song from Exmalia has been back in rotation the last couple years for Dust Bowl Faeries, and we almost always have Ghosts of Love from Exmalia in the rotation, and Hazel, our spirit animal. Hazel, who's the taxidermy ram in the band, came out of Exmalia. So I started working with Hazel within the Exmalia show, and Hazel played the role of the Accordion Ibex in the show. Ibex has a similar kind of curled horn as Hazel, even though Hazel's not a goat. Hazel's a sheep. But anyway, that's theater, right? Nobody's who they really are. So
Yeah.
so that's where. So Hazel is the member of the band who I didn't mention earlier, who goes the furthest back with me.
Yeah,
But
for sure. And the most recent release, by the way, of the Dust Bowl Faeries discography is Carnival Dust. An EP came out in January, this past January. And Cuckoo, which you heard earlier, introing in front of the scenes, that's on there. And also the song we're going to be playing in the outro. You'll hear that from there too. And speaking of Hazel, Ryder, that was another thing I wanted to ask you about. So Hazel, as you mentioned, is the band's taxidermy spirit animal. She's a ram who has been regendered in the afterlife. So I know that you discovered Hazel many years ago. I want to say, was it just kind of at a not a garage sale, but some kind of a like just a site with some various things, and she happened to be there. And I guess the question is, did you have in mind the idea of the band having a spirit animal or a mascot of some sort, and then you went looking, or did you come across Hazel and think, here we go, this is perfect?
well, it's gonna sound kind of crazy, but Hazel is honestly the one who started the band, because I was kind of depressed after we decided to end the show. You kind of crash after working on something really hard for a few years. So I was like, oh, I don't really want to. I wish we could keep going with this material, but it's just so exhausting and so much work and a lot of resources to keep a show like that going. So yeah, Hazel just kind of called out and said, in that sort of ethereal, magical voice in your mind, let's do a band, and we can just keep playing the songs, and we don't have to do this whole huge, show with the projections and the this and that. And I was like, okay. And then we actually went. We Hazel and I played solo for a while, just to kind of keep the songs going. And Dennis put the first trio together. So Dennis is a friend collaborator who did the Hazel's Eyes album, and he's got this sort of enchanted garden that a few of us always like to hang out in. And I think I had booked a show, and Dennis was like, "You got to get a band together," and he literally got Rubi for me, and he got another amazing woman musician, Sarah Ayers, who played keyboard and did really great harmonies. So that was the original trio. So it really did segue out of Exmalia, and Hazel I found in a salvage company in Albany, New York, and it was one of those amazing warehouses full of all kinds of just stuff, from fragments of old buildings to antiques and vintage, garments and all kinds of crazy stuff. And there was like a little side room that had some taxidermy animals. And I'd already been working with some deer, like putting deer on my back to make this kind of hybrid body. And we had um, two deer in the show already. So I was specifically looking for the Pyrenean ibex, and I found Hazel, and I actually didn't have much money, so the salvage company traded Hazel for some artwork that
Oh, cool.
they took the art to LA, and I think they might have sold it. So hopefully they did, or maybe they kept it. I don't know.
Interesting. Okay, cool. Cool. No, she is a big part of the fairies for sure. And of course, at all your shows with you. And speaking of shows, so you guys, mostly you guys perform kind of in your home area. So like the Catskill region of New York and Massachusetts and the Capital Region, Albany and stuff like that. But I know the last, of course, couple of years, you guys have also done a Southeast swing. So you've gone down to play like Dragon Con in Atlanta and shows in North Carolina and stuff. Is there something about that swing in particular? Because it kind of, for at least I guess as long as we've worked together, the last couple of years, kind of been like the main out of town jaunt for you guys. Is there something about it besides maybe Dragon Con as a destination, or like it's easy, or you really like the people or the area? What is it about that makes you kind of get out of New York specifically for their now going on 2 years and maybe annually?
Yeah, I will say, we did Dust Bowl Faeries previous to the Atlanta, the couple last years of going to Atlanta. I think it was 2018 that we went to New Orleans and drove down there and back, and that was really fun. And so it always kind of feels like halfway to New Orleans. It's a big commitment to do the whole New Orleans trip. I would love to do that again.
That seems like a perfect fairy city, honestly. Like it
Yeah.
really does seem like if a top flight one for you guys.
Yes. So hopefully, maybe next year we'll go a little bit further. It's always, I have to say, we've always had really good shows in North Carolina. I don't know if it's just been random luck or um, what it is exactly, but people like us there, and it's a unique sound, so not everybody's into it. Some people don't get it, and you can't please everyone. And if you are pleasing everyone, you're probably making some pretty um, normal standard music that people don't before, which is okay. But I want to do something maybe different, my own thing. So anyway, people like us in North Carolina, so that's always a kind of good direction to go. And I like going south. I mean, I love to travel and play music, so I honestly would go pretty much any direction. The Midwest is not my favorite. I love the West Coast, but like
Yep.
the band out there is a lot. So I wish there was just like a magic carpet to get us from New York to like San Francisco and LA.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, touring is, I guess, especially these days with just how music physically is just not sold like it used to. It really is the driving force for artists to make money too, and to say nothing of just doing it. But yeah, it's not easy because I mean, there's the cost and everything, and it's got to make sense. But yeah, it is nice that you guys obviously have a kind of a little fan base growing more in the Southeast too. And actually, I will say, you guys were over in Sicily filming the 35 millimeter spaghetti western with the aforementioned Lisa M. Thomas, and you did a couple of shows in Sicily. So were they good? How was the response over there?
Yeah, they were great. People really liked it, and the accordion is a very traditional instrument in Italy, and there we did see some accordion players in Sicily. They were mostly like older men, so it felt pretty cool to be like a younger non-man accordion player. Um, like, maybe that would inspire some people. And I also got the sense that it's probably an instrument that still a lot of people play, but it's not. It's maybe kind of like a bit of a dying art form instrument, like it had. It's really kind of accordion's like such a cool instrument, and it's just been replaced, I guess, by the keyboard and synth music, and so
Yeah.
so
I
it's fun to bring the accordion. I think people really liked that.
Yeah, it is a throwback for sure. For me, I look at accordion and I think, well, first of all, I don't know how you do it because I mean you've got obviously the keys and then you're kind of it's kind of going in and out, and that obviously contributes to how you're making the sound. So it seems like a lot of moving parts. So I admire you for being able to play it. For first of all, so maybe that's part of it. Like people just look at it and they're thinking, Jesus, this does not look like an easy instrument to play. Or I don't know if is it cumbersome, like, because you've got it like just strapped onto your chest, right? Like, do you find it, or did you, when you were learning it, like kind of a bit bulky to deal with, or was it always comfortable?
It's not an easy instrument to play. I mean, all instruments, take some, obviously, uh,
There's a
there's
learning curve for sure.
for
Yeah.
everything. Accordion, I think it's especially hard, to play it and sing at the same time. And I don't have a
Yeah.
very loud voice, so I'm still working on it, And that's the thing with instruments; you can never. There's always something new to learn. Um, so yeah, it's not an easy instrument to play, and you can't. You're blind on your button side, which for me is my left hand, so you can't see the buttons. So that's all just by.
And there are, how many buttons are there? Because there, it looks like there are dozens.
They're on the full size accordion, which is I have a compact full size full bass accordion. So there's 120 buttons on it, and
Man.
yeah, so you have to just learn your way around, and it's interesting. It's a little bit. I think of it as like Braille or something, 'cause it's like a language. And I studied Braille for a while, and I thought maybe there wasn't any like literal similarity, but you're feeling, you have to feel your way around, and it's kind of cool. Like once you get it, because then you don't have to look, and then there isn't that temptation to like look down. Except I have that temptation when I'm playing the keys, but I try to practice with my eyes closed so that
Sure. Yeah.
too.
Yeah, it's a fair comparison because, like, obviously you're going solely by feel and all that. Okay, so between accordion and your other instrument, singing saw, which
Yeah.
one's easier?
Singing saw for me is so much easier. And I just have the best time playing it. It's not gonna like I can't really carry a song in it, so I don't play it in the band that often, because I'm usually playing lead, and that would be the accordion. But we have like John's song that we play a lot, the Clockwork Romance, and then it's like,
Hmm?
yeah, I get to play saw. Jude Hobbit Fairy has some songs that I play saw on, and sometimes we have saw just like on the intro of the song or something. I play it a lot with Dennis for the duet with Dennis, and then I added in on the recordings, and I did play Saw in 2019 with Raspy Tina on her tours, and that was just like so great,
Yeah, because
Like,
she's one of your idols, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's always just the best when somebody was like, "Want to play Saw with us?" It's like, yes. It's all
Yeah.
by ear, and I have, so you have to have a pretty good ear to be able to play it. And it is harder to play the louder the music, because you, the hardest part is to come in on the right note. Once
Hmm.
you're in, then it's all just like moving the metal up and down and making the S curve. But it's harder to like sneak in on your note. That's what I call it, sneaking in. If you've got like a drum kit playing or whatever. So besides that, getting that first note is just like the best.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. So when you guys play live, of course, you are the 5-piece, and that's the typical Faeries lineup. But there's also the duo lineup, which is yourself and Jon, the guitarist, and then sometimes there's the trio, which lately has included a lot of Hobbit Fairy Jude Roberts guesting in with you guys. So when it comes to the different types of shows, like what can people expect if they're seeing you with one lineup over another?
So the duet, we do a lot of the same song, mostly the same songs that we do with the full band. There's a couple that we do in the duet that we don't do with the full band. There's this one song called Lobotomy that they basically, a couple of the full band, like vetoed. So
Okay.
he has veto power, but Jon loves it. So anyway, we do that song sometimes with the duet, and but yeah, it's mostly the same material. Sometimes Jon will play a stomp box to get a beat going, but it's just it's similar, but just like not as loud.
Right. So it's like a stripped down typical Faeries performance.
Yeah. And then with Jude, he's been bringing in some songs. So we usually do at least one or two of Jude's songs in the trio sets. And here comes Hieronymus.
Oh, is that Kitty?
Yeah.
You say Hieronymus?
This is Hieronymus.
Oh, that's cute. How old?
He's a senior. I think he's probably around 12.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
She's hi Hieronymus. That's cute. Do you have multiple cats, don't you?
Yeah, I have 3 cats inside here. Hieronymus, Persephone, Queen of the Underworld, and Bunny Boy. So I'm a big fan of her. So yeah, anyway, with the trio, it's a little more. I don't know. We do a couple more cover songs with the trio, and you hear a few new things that you don't hear with the band.
Yeah, cool. Okay, and speaking of, there are shows coming up the rest of this month here in October that feature all the lineups. So if you're watching and you happen to be in New York or close enough, they've got shows in East Durham and Schenectady, and Ryder's going to be solo in Queens, in fact, doing a cool show. And then Beacon, and then Athens. And so it's all at dustbowlfaeries.com there. And it is already October, which is mind-boggling. So looking ahead to 2024, what's planned in Fairyland?
Well, I'm going to definitely buckle down and try to look around again at like labels and management, look everything up, because it would be so great to just be able to focus on the music. But we'll see. It's all about social media, popularity numbers, etc. So I may end up being the booking agent again for the band. So I'm hoping to get into some more festivals. It's been tricky, I think, with our style of music, and also with not having management. But hopefully next year we will be doing some more music festivals, and then we can put some tours in different directions around the festivals. That's my goal, is to be able to kind of do some more traveling. It's definitely hard to travel with the full band, so the travel shows the full band's probably mostly going to be in the New York Hudson Valley, more local, and then traveling like duet and trio. But we'll definitely be hitting some of our favorite local places again, and looking for some fun adventures.
Yeah, no, for sure. It should be good. Hopefully we can make a lot of that happen indeed. So For anything Dust Bowl Faeries, anytime you can go to their official website. It's dustbowlfaeries.com. The Bandcamp is rydercooley.bandcamp.com, and that has the full Faeries discography. On Facebook and Instagram, they are Dust Bowl Faeries, and that's a Faeries, by the way, Faeries. YouTube, YouTube is Dust Bowl Faeries 5116 as the thing goes, but you can search them too, and it's got all their good stuff on there. Well, listen, Ryder, it was awesome to talk to you. It's nice because it's only a handful of times that we've actually kind of just talked, as opposed to just doing the emails and WhatsApp and things like that. So that's kind of cool. And so I appreciate you doing this.
I honestly feel like you're a fairy too. You're really like our Facebook fairy, and you've oh my gosh, you're just so on top of it with the shows and what's going on, and sometimes you're reminding me of like you got something coming up and what's going on. So Kevin Points Cobra, amazing. Like you've really made my fairy life so much better with all of your amazing support.
Well, thank you. That honestly, that means a lot. I'm happy to be your guys' Facebook fairy for sure. So you're so easy to work with and talented and wonderful. So that makes my life easier too. That's all good. So that's Ryder Cooley from Dust Bowl Faeries. It's also Hieronymus. Hello, Hieronymus. Thank you for the cameo. Never say no to cute kitties. Meow, as we like to put it a lot of the end of our social posts. So yeah. Go check out Dust Bowl Faeries. They're awesome. Enjoy the Americana by way of pagan cabaret or gothic polka or dark carnival or whatever you want to call them. It is all good for sure. So this has been In Front of the Scenes. We'll do it again another time for sure. Thank you, Ryder. Appreciate it.